We start off by sewing the dart area of the back piece. Place right side on right side and sew the dart by 0.5 inch. Repeat the same process on the other back piece. When you are done sewing the darts, place the right side on the right side of both pieces and sew the center back by 0.5 inch. Here's how the back piece looks like when you are done. Repeat the same process on the lining fabric of the back piece. Here's how the lining for the back piece would look when you are done. Proceed to join the front darts. Once again, place right side on right side and sew by 0.5 inch on both sides of the front pieces. This is the main fabric of the front piece, and here's what it should look like when you are done. Remember, the lining piece of the front has 3 parts. First, you sew the dart area by 0.5 inch. Come in with the main fabric serving as the lining and join it also by 0.5 inch. After sewing the dart area, it is advisable to place notches around the seam lines to release any tension. Here is the main fabric serving as the lining. Place right side on right side and sew by 0.5 inch. Here is how the lining piece for the front looks like when you are done. Repeat the same process on the other side. Place the right side of the lining on the right side of the main fabric and sew the extended neckline by 3.5 inches. Make a snip at the 3 inches end point and trim off excess seam allowances. Remember, the lining piece is 2.5 inches shorter than the main fabric. Match up the hem and with the help of your fusible web, sew the hem area by 0.5 inch. The outcome of shortening the lining than the main fabric is the lining pulls some inches of the main fabric towards the wrong side, creating a neater finish. Sew the center front, attaching your fusible web to the seam lines. Sew by 0.5 inch from the hem all the way to the neckline. On reaching the neckline, cut out the seam allowance on the pointy corner of the lapel. Turn this area inside out and with the help of a tool, poke out the pointy corner. The right side of the dress should look like this. Here's how the lapel collar rolls backwards. The reason why the lining piece has to be the main fabric. Here's the wrong side of the front piece. At the hem, the main fabric rolls towards the back by 1.5 inch. Sew the hem of the back piece. Place the right side of the lining on the right side of the fabric, matching up the center back line, and with a fusible web, sew by 0.5 inch. Trim off excess seam allowance if necessary. Turning to the right side, it should look like this. The shoulder of the main fabric and the shoulder of the lining piece is joined separately. Place right sides together of the front and back piece and sew the shoulder by 0.5 inch. Repeat the same process on the lining pieces. After joining the shoulder, the right side of the outfit looks like this. Here's the lapel collar rolled on both sides in opposite directions. Measure around the neckline starting from the notched lapel point, crossing the shoulder, the center back, all the way to the other lapel point. Here we have it to be 17.5 inches. Come in with your collar pieces. Here we have 4 pieces in total. Place right side on right side and sew the center back by 0.5 inch. Repeat the same process for the other 2 pieces, and this makes 2 collars. The curvy area of the collar is to be attached to the neckline, while the straight area is sewn on a straight line by 0.5 inch. Come in with the other collar piece, placing right side on right side and matching up the center back line. Sew with a fusible web from the middle point to one end of the collar. Repeat same process from the middle point again to the other end of the collar. Create multiple notches along the seam line. On the slanted notched collar area, sew with a fusible web by 0.5 inch. Cut out the excess seam allowance on the pointy corner. Turn inside out and poke out the pointy area. Repeat the same process on the other end of the collar. Turn the collar inside out, matching up the center back line. We are to attach the collar to the neckline of the dress. Here is the shoulder line and the center back line. Place the middle line of the collar to match up with the center back line of the main fabric, excluding the lining piece for now. With a pin, secure the collar in place. Match up the closed end of the collar with the lapel notched points. Sew the collar to the neckline by 0.5 inch. A quick tip here is to sew a stitch length of about 5 inches, stop and start sewing from the other end of the collar. The idea behind this is just so the collar is balanced at the end of the day. Notch around the seam lines to release any tension. Now we are to turn the neckline with the lining piece. Place right side of the lining on the right side of the main fabric. Sew once again by 0.5 inch. When you are done sewing, create notches around the neckline. Turn inside out to see all you've been sewing. Here's how the right side of the collar should look and how it should look on the wrong side. This is the notched lapel collar. Fold the pocket fabric lengthwise by 5.5 inches. Fold the fabric again widthwise by 3.5 inches. Draw triangle shapes on the bottom open area of the pocket fabric. Place the fabric on double folds and cut out the triangle shape on the all folded side. Open flat the pocket fabric and separate the center line. This will give 2 pockets. Separate the upper folded area of the pockets. Now you have one main fabric and one as the lining piece. Sew the triangle shaped area at the bottom first. A quick tip in sewing sharp points: when you get to the vertex point of the triangle, insert your needle into the fabric, lift up your foot and turn the fabric, drop your foot and continue sewing by 0.5 inch. Repeat this process till you get to the end of the pockets. Close the straight open sides of the pocket by 0.5 inch as well. Trim out all seam allowances. Turn inside out and poke out all pointy ends. Go ahead to give the pockets a good press. Fold inwards by 0.5 inch the upper area of the pocket and top stitch very close to the fold. Here we have 2 pockets. It is time to join the side seams of the dress. You can choose to sew a bagged out seam, that is, sewing the main fabric separate from the lining, placing right side on right side, then repeating the same process on the lining piece. This way, no visible seam lines are seen on the wrong side of the garment. This is a quick project, so I'll be layering all fabrics together and sewing them all at once. Align the sides of the fabric properly. Starting from the bust, mark 1.5 inch. This is the seam allowance added to this dress. Mark same on the waistline, the hip line, and the hem of the dress. Connect the shape from the bust to the waist, the hip, and to the hem. Proceed to sew down the side shape. When you are done sewing, the right side should look like this. Repeat the same process on the other side. Attach the pockets 18 inches away from the shoulder. Repeat the same process on the other side. Create buttonhole lines starting 14 inches from the shoulder. The gap between each buttonhole is 5 inches. Stop 6 inches before the hem of the dress. This is 11 inches. Mark on both ends and rule a line across. From the top of the sleeve, mark your cap's height. Here is 3.75 inches. On the cap's height line, mark your cap's width. The formula to use is on the screen. The round sleeve is 11 inches. Divide that by 2 and connect to the cap's width. Connect a line from the tip of the sleeve to the cap's width. Divide that line by 2, get the midpoint, come in with your French curve and create your S curve. Cut the sleeves pattern. Place the fabric on fold by 15 inches. The length of the sleeve is 22 inches. Add 1.5 inches to this for hemming allowance. Rule a line across. From this starting line, mark 3 inches upwards. Mark 5 inches on different points from the center fold to create a border line. Rule a line across and come in with the sleeves pattern. Mark the round elbow. Here we have it to be 5.5 inches and the round hem is 4.5 inches. Rule a line to connect the points. Add 1 inch seam allowance on the elbow and 1 inch seam allowance on the sleeves hem. Again, rule a line to connect the points. Move the sleeves pattern outward, the center fold matching up with the elbow area. From the new starting line, create your S curve, matching up with the sides of the sleeves pattern. The wideness of the S-curve creates the volume of the sleeve. Take out the sleeves pattern and completely connect the sides. Cut out starting from the sleeves hem through the sides and the upper part of the sleeve. This is the mutton sleeve. Open flat the main fabric of the sleeve. Go ahead to hem the sleeve with a fusible web. Rule a line across the elbow area of the sleeve. Here we have it to be 11.5 inches. Cut out a peplum stay or a collar stay from the top of the sleeve, stopping at the elbow area. Mark 0.75 inches away from the areas of the collar stay. Place on fold and trim out the edges. This lining is the initial measurement of the collar stay before trimming out the edges. Cut out multiple fusible web on different points on the lining. You are to flat iron the collar stay on it. Finally, the main fabric of the sleeve will be placed over it as shown. The collar stay has been securely attached to the lining piece. You can see it is 0.75 inches away from the areas of the lining piece. Connect the lining to the main fabric of the sleeve on the elbow line using a fusible web. I would recommend this method rather than top stitching to eliminate visible seam lines on the right side of the sleeve. Hold the lining piece and the main fabric of the sleeve together at the upper area by top stitching as shown. Place the sleeve on fold to sew down the side seams. The round elbow is 5.5 inches, mark 6 inches. The round sleeve of the hem is 4.5 inches, mark 5 inches. 0.5 inch is for ease. Using 0.5 inch at the top of the sleeve is just fine. Go ahead to sew down the side seams from the top all the way to the hem. When you're done, turn the sleeve inside out. Next, you are to match up the side seams of the dress with the side seam of the sleeve. Go ahead to pin this in place. Mark the center fold of the sleeve at the top area. Match this up with the shoulder tip of the dress. Go ahead to pin this in place. From the side seams of the sleeve, mark 5 inches towards the left side and towards the right side, making it 10 inches in total. From one point to the other, you are to sew a straight line. The excess fabric on the sleeve between the shoulder tip and the underarm just sewn, you are to create some gathers to fit around the dress armhole. Create gathers in forms of pinch and pleats. While you sew, ensure the gathers are evenly distributed on both sides of the shoulder line. When the sleeve is successfully attached, the wrong side of the sleeve should look like this and the right side should look like this. Embellishment was done with silver accessories. Go ahead to attach your buttons. You'll be needing a 3-in-1 cup chain and a hot glue gun. Embellish with the chain, the pocket, the lapel area, the sleeve hem, and the hem of the dress. Dear sew enthusiast, when you are done accessorizing, the dress is ready. If this tutorial was helpful, please drop a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell for more videos. Bye!